there is a dependent origination. We'll be covering a little bit of that. You don't need to do know everything, but just a overview. So today we are going to take Majjhima Nikaya uh, 8 Madhupundaka Sutta, the Honeyball Sutta. So thus have I heard, on one occasion the Blessed One was living in the Sakyan country at Kapilavastu in Nigordha's park. So Kapilavastu is the Sakyan country which was there. Kapilavastu is a place where from the Buddha had come. So he was in his familiar territory. So one of the things about familiar territory is that familiarity breeds contempt kind of thing. So he had some of the relatives who still did not kind of believe in him or fully kind of had faith in the Buddha. And they, because you see them kind of grow up before you, those are the kind of things he had to face. So he had to kind of, when he first came up, they had to kind of prove it to them also that he has attained certain psychic abilities, because he could not kind of work with the wisdom. So initially he went with the psychic ability and showed them that okay, I have attained certain things. But then there are some people. So there is one character over here who comes, who is like that person. Then when it was morning, the Blessed One dressed and taking his bowl and outer robe, went into Kapilavastu for alms. When he had wandered for alms in Kapilavastu and had returned from his alms round, after his meal, he went to great wood for the day's abiding, and entering the great wood, sat down at the root of Bilva sapling for the day's abiding. So this is the routine the monks follow: is go in the morning, get their food, have their food, and then spend the day in meditation. So that is what he intended to do. Dandapani the Sakyan, while walking and wandering for exercise, also went to the great wood. And when he had entered the great wood, he went to the Bilva sapling where the Blessed One was and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he stood at one side, leaning on his stick, and asked the Blessed One, what does the recluse assert? What does he proclaim? So Dandapani is Danda is a stick, a staff. So he had a staff, and that is how he came to know as a person with a staff, or Dandapani. And he was walking and he came. And one of the things about speaking to a Buddha or a person who is ascetic was, in India they used to show respect. One of the ways they used to show respect is they would stand with the hand folded, or they would sit down. So that is a way of showing respect to the. But what he did was he was leaning on a stick. He was like very, very casual uh, posture. He said so. He was kind of confrontational in that sense, that he was not giving the Buddha the respect. And then he asked in a very kind of a casual manner that what do you kind of teach and what do you assert. So that is what he was doing. He was kind of preparing for an argument. Friend, I assert and proclaim my teaching in such a way that one does not quarrel with anyone in the world, with its gods, its maras, its brahmas, in this generation with its recluses and brahmins, its princes and its people, in such a way that perception no more underline that Brahmin who abides detached from sensual pleasures, without perplexity, shorn of worry, free from craving for any kind of being. So now what he said initially was, I don't fight with anybody. So when he wanted to fight, he said that I don't want to fight with anybody, and I don't fight with anybody. So he is giving a, now he is painting a picture, Buddha is painting a picture of the cosmos or the world which he kind of teaches. That world includes the gods, which are the devas. It's Maras. Maras is the opponent, or devil also, but it is not exactly the devil. Mara is like a businessman who wants more customers. So he wants people to be involved in the samsara. He wants involved in the world. So he may give you the world also. He may make you the world king also. But he wants you to be involved in the world, but not get spiritual or the things which are there, which is taking you out of the craving, aversion, and delusion. So he wants you to be involved in that. So that is a Mara. Brahma is the operator of the universe. He also has a limited time. The limited time is kind of relational, but he is the operator of the universe. In this generation with the recluses, means all the ascetics which are there, the Brahmins. Now, the Brahmins, which the Buddha is using, is a term he uses for Arahant. Arahant is a person who has given up all his lust, aversions, and delusions. So, that is a fully awakened person, enlightened person. So, he uses the term. So one of the terms we mentioned was the term used is Naga. When we are doing the kind of gratitude chanting in the end, we are using the word Naga. That Naga is also a designation for the Arahant. So that is what he is mentioning as Brahmin. It's princes and its people. So the people who are in ruling class and the kind of the general public, in such a way that perception no more underline that Brahmin. Perceptions we talked about is how you look at the world. Perception is names things. So it kind of tints our vision of all what we see. So perceptions no more underline that Brahmin. With that person whom no perceptions are underlying, since he is seeing everything as it is. Somebody sees ice cream. So somebody says that I like ice cream. I want it. And somebody says ice cream, I hate ice cream. I don't want it. So that is because of perceptions, because our learned experiences. Say maybe when we were small, we had ice cream and we fell sick, so we don't like ice cream. Other times, the mother, when she was happy, she gave us ice cream. So we have a motherly love associated with ice cream. So those kind of things are perceptions. But when a person will do investigation, do meditation, understand how this mind works, then no perceptions underline. So when the person sees ice cream, he sees just the ice cream, but there are no associations with that ice cream. No, I like it, I don't like it. There is nothing with that. So that is the person which is there. Perception no more underline that Brahmin who abides detached from sensual pleasures. So he is not attracted to the sights, sounds, smells, taste, tactile things, and the thoughts or mind objects or any thinking without perplexity. So he is not having any doubts. So he's clear about everything. So whatever is there, he is clear. Shorn of worry. So he is not worrying also about, because he knows in the present what is there will happen in the future, and what is there in the present is dependent on whatever has happened in the past. So he does not worry about anything. Free from craving of any kinds of being. So he does not want to become anything. So how do we kind of go somewhere? We have a desire. So I will go to Delhi. So then I have desire. Then I will say, "Why- how can I go?" Then I can say, I need money. Then I will work for money. Then I'll take a ticket. I'll go to Delhi. But I never had a desire to go to Delhi. So will I end up in Delhi? No, because there are many other places. So why would I end up in Delhi? Because I had no desire. I will not make any effort to go there. So over here, there is being is how we want to become. Like we want to become rich, we want to become maybe good people, or we want to become, say, powerful. Whatever is there, we have unfinished desires that is to be fulfilled. So then we have the continuation of journey. So sometimes we see in movies also that I have not been able to do this, but I will do it in the future. And then they kind of take it as a challenge and they go searching. So that is how our renewal of being also happens, because we have some kind of desire we want to fulfill. So that can be very subtle desires also, like becoming a deva, or going or learning about Brahmaloka and say, I want to visit Brahmaloka. There are very subtle desires also, but those desires are there. But when you are a full arahant, and you have given up everything, you have given up all your beings or craving for being any kind of being. So any kind of desires have been given. When this was said, Dandapani the Sakyan shook his head, waggled his tongue, raised his eyebrows until its forehead was puckered with three lines. Then he departed, leaning on his stick. So when this was said, he said, "Oh, no, 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 he is not going to fight with me." So he left. He was disappointed that he could not start a fight with the Buddha, and then he left. Then, when it was evening, the Blessed One rose from meditation, went to the Nigodha's park, where he sat on a seat made ready for him, and told the students that had taken what had taken place. When the certain student asked the Blessed One, so he went from that park when he was meditating. He went in the evening where the other monks were there. So he said whatever has happened, and then one of the students asked him a question. But Venerable Sir, how does the Blessed One assert and proclaim his teaching in such a way that he does not quarrel with anyone in the world, with its gods, its maras, its brahmas? So this is the how does that happen? That is what he is asking. Students, as to the source through which perceptions and notions born of mental proliferation beset a man. So now the source of mental proliferation is when you get a thought, then you have more and more thoughts come up. Say if you think about going to a movie, then you say which movie I'll see. Then you say, oh, I have seen so much movies. Oh, this actor is very good. Or this is a theater which is very good. I will have a popcorn. I'll go buy this car, or I'll wear this. So all of these thoughts comes up just because the thought came. I will go to the movie. So that is the mental proliferation which happens, and that kind of goes more and more thinking happens. And what is the source of it? Beset a man, if nothing is found there to delight in, welcome and hold to. This is the end of the underlying tendency to lust. So the thing is, we have to say if the thought of a movie, going to the movie came, and we six-sard it, we let it go. We recognize that and release, relax, smile, then return back to whatever we are doing. Then all these thoughts about movie, the actor, the previous movies, what we'll wear, what we'll eat, and what we'll go buy, all these thoughts will not be there, because we have not had the kind of we did not delight in what has arisen in our mind, because we cannot stop what is arising in the mind, because that happens because of what has happened in the past. Something arises in our mind, we are just sitting and a thought comes, oh, we should maybe eat say whatever pakoda or something like that we want to eat. So now that thought come up, but now, if you pay attention, then it will create the whole kind of the prapancha, which is the mental proliferation which is there of all the thoughts which are coming. So then he's saying that if nothing is found there to delight in, welcome and hold to, this is the end of the underlying tendency to lust, of the underlying tendency to aversion. So all the aversions which we have also is the same process of the underlying tendency to uh, views. So all our views which are we have that. So this is right, this is wrong. Certain people have certain kind of philosophies which are there. So this is the way which is the world is working. Those are all the kind of views which we have. So it is the end of the underlying tendency to views, of the underlying tendency to doubt, of the underlying tendency to conceit. Conceit is also this is me, this is mine. So that kind of ego which is there, that it's an underlying, it is the end of the underlying tendency to conceit, of the underlying tendency to desire for being. That is also of the underlying tendency to ignorance. So that is the ultimate. So when the dependent origination which you are seeing, it starts with ignorance, but it ends with knowledge. So, seeing and knowing, that is when you are fully awakened. So, you start with not knowing, and when you kind of practice, then you know. And that is the kind of the definition of a fully awakened person, that he has no ignorance. This is the underlying, this is the end of resorting to rods and weapons, of quarrels, brawls, disputes, recrimination, malicious words, and false speech. Here, these evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. So, when we something comes up in the mind, then we say this is mine, and then somebody wants to take this, then we will fight for it because we have that attachment to it that this is mine. And when we have this kind of things, then there will be quarrels, there will be disputes, there will be recriminations, there will be false speech. So all of this will be happening because we are taking what is come up as personal. Whatever thought has come up in our mind, we take it as this is my thought. I gave that example of the chocolate and the mug. So if we have that mug or a chocolate for 5 minutes, we say, this is my mug or my chocolate. We don't want to exchange it. Even if for the same value, we don't want to exchange it. So that is what happens when certain thought comes up. And if we are not sixaring it, or we are not letting it go, that thought, then all these things, which is mental proliferation, happens, which is called prapancha sanya sankhara in Pali. And prapancha is also one of the words which is used for samsara. Is all this is prapancha, we say. Is all is mental work. It is, I think this is good, and then I do certain things. I think it is bad and I don't do it. Or anything which is there in this room was there in somebody's mind before. So a cup is there, or a kind of this reading book is there, or whatever is there, was in somebody's mind, and then it became reality. So then that is how we say prapancha, because everything which we see is basically a creation of the mind. That is what the Blessed One said. Having said this, the Sublime One rose from his seat and went into the dwelling. So somebody asked him a question, he replied him. Somebody did not ask, nobody else asked any question, so he went back to his room to rest. So that is why Bhante Vimalamsi, our teacher, used to say that always ask questions. So then you have no doubt is left. Then soon after the Blessed One had gone, the students considered, now friends, the Blessed One has arisen from his seat and gone into his dwelling. After giving a summary in brief without expounding the detailed meaning. Now who will expound this in detail? Then they considered the Venerable Mahākaccāna is praised by the teacher and esteemed by his wise companions in the holy life. So, Venerable Mahākaccāna was considered to be foremost expounding the Buddha's teaching. So, if the Buddha told something in brief, he would kind of expand it, that teaching. So, they went to Mahākaccāna. When they went to Mahākaccāna, first Mahākaccāna kind of scolded them that when you need something, you are at the source of the knowledge, and then you come to me. It is like if somebody wants wood, and he goes from the branch, the trunk of the tree, and goes into the branches to search for wood. So you should have first asked the Buddha, but they said that kind of they convince him that please tell us, because the Buddha has gone for rest. Then listen, friends, and attend closely to what I shall say. So Mahākaccāna says that listen, I will tell you. Yes, friend, the students replied. The Venerable Mahākaccāna said, so this, I have skipped something, I have gone ahead. So the 14th, I have gone to the 14th chapter. So, friends, when the Blessed One rose from his seat and went into his dwelling, after giving a summary in brief, without expounding the detailed meaning, that is, students, as to the source through which perception and notions born of mental proliferation beset a man, if nothing is found there to delight in, welcome and hold to, that this is the end of the underlying tendency to lust. This is the end of resorting to rods and weapons. Here, this evil, unwholesome state cease without remainder. I understand the detailed meaning of it to be as follows. Dependent on the I and forms, I consciousness arises. So this is giving the steps of the dependent origin. With contact as condition, there is feeling. What one feels, that one perceives. So then we had told that when there is feeling, there are three things: there is consciousness, feeling, and perception. So when there is a feeling, there is a perception which is there. Perception gets activated. What one feels, that one perceives. What one perceives, that one thinks about. So if you see something, a rock also, it's a odd shaped rock also, you will start thinking about it. Oh, what is this? Is it a mineral? Is it somebody has kind of carved this rock, or is it natural rock or something like that? So what kind of one pays attention to, that one thinks about. So that is what happens. So okay, one second. What one perceives, that one thinks about. What one thinks about, that one mentally proliferates. So when he thinks about something, then it starts to kind of go into one, into another, into the other things. So that kind of proliferation. With what one has mentally proliferated as the source, perceptions and notions born of mental proliferation beset a mind with respect to past, future, and present forms cognizable by the eye. So when somebody sees something, it may say, "Oh, in the past I saw these rocks. I had gone in childhood. I had gone over there in the picnic. I have seen these rocks." Or somebody will say, "Oh, we can see these rocks in somewhere else. We can go over there for a picnic, and we can see those rocks." So then all the thoughts about present is there, past is there, in the future is there, kind of come, and we are kind of involved in those thoughts. So we are always involved in certain kinds of thinking, which is there with the present, which is in the past or in the future. So those kind of things which happen. The same thing happens with the ear also. When you hear something, we kind of get involved in that thinking process. When we see something, we or smell something which happens, then we should taste something. If we kind of feel something, or we kind of think of something, those kind of things will kind of create more and more thoughts, and that will create the mental proliferation. The meeting of the we'll talk about the mind. Dependent on the mind and mind objects, mind consciousness arises. The meeting of the three is contact. With contact as condition, there is feeling. What one feels, that one perceives. What one perceives, that one thinks about. What one thinks about, that one mentally proliferates. With one uh, with what one has mentally proliferated as the source, perceptions and notions born of mental proliferation beset a man with respect to past, future, and present, mind objects cognizable through the mind. So anything which we receive from the senses, if we are not careful, we are not mindful, then what happens? We cannot do 6 hours, or we cannot let that go. If you are not letting it go, that thing kind of overtakes the mind. That's the reason certain people are not able to kind of stand the sound of the trucks going around the road, because they are not unable to kind of let go of that sound. Because whenever that sound comes, there is something kind of stirs up in their mind, and when that stirs up, then there is a lot of thinking which is there, and then they become kind of restless. They say, "Oh, I cannot huh, I cannot bear this, and I want to go." So that is what happens in the mind, because we are not able to see what is there, and we are not able to let go of what is come up in the mind in the present. When there is an I, a form, and I consciousness, it is possible to point out the manifestation of contact. So if there is an I object, that is a form is there, and I consciousness, there is we can say there is a contact which has happened. So if we are not, we close the eyes, then there is no contact, eye contact will happen. So that is what they are talking about. When there is manifestation of contact, it is possible to point out the manifestation of feeling. When there is a manifestation of feeling, it is possible to point out the manifestation of perception. When there is manifestation of perception, it is possible to point out the manifestation of thinking. When there is a manifestation of thinking, it is possible to point out the manifestation of besetment by perception and notion born of mental proliferation. So when one thing happens, the second thing happens, the third thing happens, the fourth thing happens. How? Because this is all dependently originated. So now one is dependent on the other. It does not mean one creates the other. It means that one is dependent on the other. So when there is a contact, there is a feeling.
First one is contact.
First is contact,
Feeling.
then there is feeling. So when there are sense objects are there is contact. When the contact is there is feeling. When there is feeling, there is a perception. So all those are interlinked. And when there is a perception, then there is thinking is there. So all is there, but this is happening without stop. Then there is same thing for the sound, smell, taste, the tactile things, and the mental things which are coming up. So that is all linked. So when this is when we are not doing intervention. So it is not we doing intervention. This is how it is happening. Now he is giving us a formula where it is not inevitable. There can be a kind of end to it also. So that is what he is saying. When there is ear, a sound and ear consciousness. So this is for all the things. When there is no eye, no form, no eye consciousness, it is impossible to point out the manifestation of contact. So if you keep your eyes closed, then there is no eye consciousness possible. So that is what he is saying. That is when there is eye consciousness not there, then it is impossible to point out the manifestation of contact. When there is no manifestation of contact, it is impossible to point out the manifestation of feeling. When there is no manifestation of feeling, it is impossible to point out the manifestation of perception. When there is no manifestation of perception, it is impossible to point out the manifestation of thinking. When there is no manifestation of thinking, it is impossible to point out the manifestation of besetment by perceptions and notions born of mental proliferations. So when we are able to siksar at any point, then later stages will not come. So if you close your eyes, you are not seeing, and you are not. If you are not paying attention to the sound will stop bothering you. If you are not smelling something, then the smell consciousness does not bother you. So all those things is there. But when thinking happens, what you can do is you can siksar. You can recognize, release your attention, relax, smile, return back to whatever object of meditation which was there, to the object of meditation. So you can just use this thing to kind of cut the process. So if you can say that when there is no manifestation of perception, it is impossible to point out the manifestation of thinking. When there is no manifestation of thinking, it is impossible to point out the manifestation of besetment or perceptions and notions born of mental proliferation. So at the thinking stage also, if you can let go, then rest of the things will not happen. So this is how you can intervene in the process, which is a automatic process, which is based on causes and conditions. So there is a chain of reaction which is there. When the chain of reaction is working, then this happens. So that is how it works. So this is the same thing for all the sense doors.
Can you explain, please? After thinking, what is happening?
That is besetment by perception and notions born of mental proliferation. That is, you get involved in all the thoughts. You get kind of get involved in all these thoughts, and then you can become kind of entrenched in that. And that is how you can have views, you can have quarrels, you can have kind of recriminations and all these things and false speech, because you get sometimes what happens is when you are in argument you say false things also, because you are entrenched in that view, and when you are entrenched in that view, you want to defend that view, and that is how it happens. If you get into argument, you then six are that, then that argument will also end at that point. That is what happens when you are not able to know what is arising in the present. That is sati sampajanya. That is what is mindfulness and clear comprehension. When that is there, then only you can siksar. When sati sampajanya is not there, you cannot siksar. So that is a kind of a blink which is there. Friends, when the Blessed One rose from his seat and went into his dwelling, after giving a summary in brief, without expounding the detailed meaning. That is, students, as to the source through which perception and notions born of mental proliferation beset a man, if nothing is found there to delight in, welcome, and hold to. This is the end of the underlying tendency to lust, of the underlying tendency to aversion, to the underlying tendency to views, to the underlying tendency to doubt, of the underlying tendency to conceit, of the underlying tendency to desire for being. Desire for being will kind of ensure that we come back again and again in samsara. For the underlying tendency to ignorance.
Lust, aversion,
This is there is lust, aversion, views, doubt, conceit.
conceit,
Conceit is like ego, mine. This is me. This is mine, or something like that. Desire for being and ignorance. This is the end of the resorting to rods and weapons of quarrels, brawls, disputes, recrimination, malicious words, and false speech. Here, this evil, unwholesome state cease without reminder. I understand the detailed meaning of this summary to be thus. Now, friends, if you wish, go to the Blessed One and ask him about the meaning of this. As the Blessed One explains it to you, so you should remember it. So the all the students who were there, all the monks who were there, then go to the Buddha. So the Buddha praises Mahākaccāna. So he says that he is a kind of like he is a well respected monk. So one second, I just read. Mahākaccāna is wise, students. Mahākaccāna has great wisdom. If you had asked me the meaning of this, I would have explained it to you in the same way Mahākaccāna has explained. Such is the meaning of this, and so you should remember. So the Buddha is very much agreement with whatever Mahākaccāna has said. So this teaching which he has given had been expanded, but he has expanded in a way that was in line with the Buddha. When this was said, the Venerable Ananda said to the Blessed One, Venerable Sir, just as if a mind exhausted, as a man exhausted by hunger and weakness, came upon a honey ball. Honey ball is like laddu is there. It's a mad ka laddu. So it's like a ball of honey. Wherever he would taste it, he would find a sweet, delectable flavor. As to, Venerable Sir, any able minded student, whether he might scrutinize this wisdom, the meaning of this discourse on the Dhamma, would find satisfaction and confidence of mind. Venerable Sir, what is the name of this discourse of the Dhamma? As to that, Ananda, you may remember this discourse on the Dhamma as the Honeyball discourse. This is what the Blessed One said. The Venerable Ananda was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's word. One of the things about Ananda is that Ananda, when he became, he was a cousin of the Buddha. When he came to be a monk, he said, I want to have an agreement with you that whatever teaching you give in my presence, I will remember it. But if you don't give it in my presence, you have to come back and repeat it to me. So the Buddha had agreed and he had become his attendant. So Ananda was attended for many years of the Buddha's life, and he had a memory which was very much eidetic. So whenever he used to listen to something, he used to remember it and never forget it. So I used to kind of doubt this kind of ability, that how can somebody listen? Then I read in National Geographic. There was an article about in National Geographic. It says there was an article about somebody saying that we don't we remember certain things which are important in life, like when Kennedy was assassinated or when Indira Gandhi was assassinated. I know very clearly. I remember where I was, what I did that day. I clearly remember. So, but something you will not remember, like 2 years back, what you had for breakfast. That you will not remember, whatever you do. But that lady was reading this article in the National Geographic. She said, "But I do remember what I ate 2 years back." Then she went to the Harvard professor. She wrote to the Harvard professor, "You are saying that you cannot remember what you can eat 2 years back, but I do remember what I ate in the this thing." Then he said, "Okay, come and we'll test you." So over a few years, they made a test on her, and she passed very kind of with beautiful colors. They called it eidetic memory, I think so. So that memory is possible. And then there was one other story about a journalist in Russia. He used to not he did not learn the shorthand. Wherever he used to go and take an interview or go for a press conference, he would come back and he could recreate the whole article in a kind of word to word. So he had that memory which is there. He would not forget anything. So that is a kind of human possible. Then they kind of did many tests and they found out that out of 1 million people, one person is this way. They may not even realize that. She did not realize until she got that kind of a feedback that she had that kind of a unique memory which was there. So she was living her life like a housewife normally, but she had this ability. But Ananda also had that ability, and he would kind of recreate all those things. So whenever there is a thus I heard, where it is mentioned in the start of the that has been remembered and recreated by Ananda. So that is the reason Ananda is very important, and in most of the this thing suttas you will find Ananda being there mentioned somewhere. So that is kind of the importance of him being giving the name over here. So that is how we can see that how the whatever we are doing in our practice, how it is related to dependent origination also. Dependent origination is a way of automatic function, but that automatic function can be intervened. That can be intervened with mindfulness. When we are recognizing that something has arisen, then we can release it. If we are not recognizing, what happens is whatever has arisen in the present is based on our past. Past something happened, and that is the reason this happened. You see a flower and you say it is good, or you see a flower and become sad, because the flower can be associated with happiness also, and it can be associated with sadness also. Whatever, you can be associated with anger also. Whatever emotion is there. So now something comes up and you siksar it, you let go of it. You don't kind of continue thinking about that thoughts, and you let go of the thoughts. And what will happen in the future, those thoughts will lose energy, because in the present we have not given the energy to that thoughts, because our attention is the energy. When we put our attention to the thoughts, then we are giving. So now what would happen is in the future, you see the flower, that kind of reaction will not be there. Again, say maybe that reaction comes up, you 6 hour, then in the again after say a few months or something like that, or few days, you see that the reaction will be lower. So then what happens is our habitual tendencies which are there will change. So what is there in the past will not be the future. What is there in the present, what you do with it in the present, will become our future. So how we kind of behave and how we kind of act will change based on what we are doing in the present. So one of the things Bhante Vimalamsi used to say is, what is the question he was asked is, how do you know this practice is working for me? So that he says that if your behavior changes, and how will you know your behavior change? Your kind of colleagues or family member will say your behavior change. So this I have found in many of our students. They come and say that my kind of colleagues say that I am more calmer, or I kind of become less angry, or my family is more happy with me. So that is how you kind of see that your practice is becoming more and more effective. So any questions are there?
Good for which question Mahākaccāna give this explanation?
The same which we asked about the mental proliferation. So how does that happen? So then the Mahākaccāna said that, okay, this is how it actually works. There's from through dependent origination, eye of dependent origination. Buddha talked about the kind of the perception and how this happens. Mahākaccāna is talking about through the mental functioning. So that is the dependent origination. Expanding. So anything is expanding, becoming more. One becomes two, two becomes four, four becomes eight. That is the expansion which happens. So whenever we think about certain things, we kind of add to that thinking, and it becomes too much. Certain times we start with, oh, why did he look at me strangely? Why did he not smile? And that becomes a whole kind of story. And then you can fight with that other person also. So I used to do that because if my friend don't acknowledge me or something like that, then I used to kind of, what is that? Or something happened? Maybe something I did yesterday. So we kind of have that adding on to the thing, adding on to the story and making it big, you know. Certain times we keep it to ourselves, certain times we kind of act out. That's what the Buddha is saying, that all this quarreling, taking up of the rods, recrimination, lying, all these things happens because we have painted ourselves into a corner and we don't know the process how it is happening, that how our mind is working, how the thoughts are arising, how we can let go of the thoughts. So the practice is basically about that we know in the present how the thoughts arise, how we can let it go and just be with what we want to be. And we are being with a certain thing which is pleasant, which is the Brahma Vihara, which is loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity, which are all positive emotions. You can stay without emotions for any amount of time, it will not hurt. And we are sharing that with somebody. We are sharing with a spiritual friend, or we are sharing with all the beings which are there. That is also a kind of a wholesome emotion, which is of dana, or kind of giving, of generosity. So that is how we stay. And then we know how the mind is working. Then come back to this safe space which is there. And if our mind goes away, then again bring back. And this constant process of this going and coming, that is how we know. If we kind of be very concentrated on our mind. Oh, something came? Oh. Uh-huh. So, if we are very much kind of concentrated, our mind can be in one lockdown. We kind of let go of everything and we become locked down. And what happens is we can experience certain mental experiences, which can be very pleasant. I have done those kind of meditations also. It can be very pleasant experiences here there. But when you get up, then that has no effect on our day to day. Then I used to have that. I used to stay in Thailand, Wat Pah Nan Achat. There was a Western Sangha was there. So I used to go into this mental this thing place where everything would shut down, and I would be very pleasant, and my body would be very supple. I would sit in lotus position for an hour, 2 hours, without any problem. If I get up, also I don't get any kind of cramps, everything, and then my mind would be very calm for a week, but in a kind of decreasing manner. But after a week, somebody says something to me, or something happens, and my mind would just go ballistic. And my I would kind of see that, oh, everything has gone. Now again, I want to chase that experience. So it takes 3 months for me to get that experience. Again, it happens for a week. Again, something happens, and I'm kind of getting very mad. Then again, I chase that experience. Then I thought, no, okay, this is the chasing of experience. I can't. So I was listening to one a spiritual person, and he said that you start your practice to gain wisdom, but then you get involved in the experiences, and then you leave the wisdom aside and you chase the experiences because the experiences are very good. So then I thought, oh, this is the same thing which is happening to me. I need to get a guru who will give me wisdom. So I was listening to Bante Vimaramsi a lot. So then I said, okay, I'll leave Vatparachas and go to Bante. So then Bante, I did a retreat in Bali. He used to come in Bali. So then I said, okay, I'll go and meet him over there. So that was my journey also. That this experience which is there can be.
Experience with Bande.
Bante was good because when I went there, my mind was very nice because I had a good 1.5 years of meditation experience. By that time, almost 2 years because it took me few months for to reach Bante. So by that time, 2 years of very good meditation. I had a very good Shila also. So my mind was very kind of in balance by that time. So when I went to Bante, the practice went really well, very quickly. In 6, 7 days, I decided I want to kind of be with Bante, and I had gone there and I told Bante. Bante then said, "Go to Sri Lanka," where Sister Khema was there. So at that time, so then I went to Sri Lanka. I had planned to go to Sri Lanka before also, but I had planned to stay in another monastery. But I said, okay, no, I had some feeling of gratitude also because this practice gave me kind of a very much confidence in the Buddha's teaching that there is a kind of path to awakening. That is the kind of confidence I had after doing that. So there is a lot of gratitude in me. So I said, I want to kind of give back to Bante. So and Bante, I will work for you. So he said, oh, we need people. Sister Kema is working in Sri Lanka. Then Sister Kema left, but I stayed in Sri Lanka. Till now, I'm staying there. So there it has been very. They are also supportive. Normally, they kind of it can be a very busy in temple life, but they give me space. I can do my own thing. They are very supportive. So it all worked out for me at least. So that is how kind of this practice which is there is very practical in that sense. You can kind of change how you are behaving, how it is there, but it's not magic. It is we are working with a mind, and that mind may have been there for many this thing. People believe or not believe, it is up to them. Because I was also before this, I was a rationalist, objectivist. I was following Ayn Rand. I was an atheist and all those things. So it was difficult for me to also come and understand those things because I have a skeptical mind. So everything I have taken up of Buddha's teaching is a skeptical mind, always trying to kind of see with rationality and kind of see with my experience. But one of the things Buddha's teaching which was there is very difficult to comprehend also is once Buddha was asked that how long have you stayed in the samsara? So the Buddha said, if there are 4 monks I kept for that practice of seeing the past lives. So they see 100,000 Big Bang, that is Mahakapa. Big Bang is Big Bang happens, the expansion happens. That is one. That is called asankhya. It is uncountable time. That one amount of time is how it is calculated is, say if there is a 10-mile width, there is and 10-mile long, 10-mile height. There was a granite, which was a stone was there. Somebody comes with a small cloth of linen, or which is a soft cloth, like silk cloth, and kind of swipes it once. In 100 years, somebody comes and swipes it once. By this effort, the whole rock will have weighed away. Still, one this part of this asankhya will not have been started and ended. So that is a very long period. Now, if you consider this theoretical physicists, they say this expansion will go on till 150 billion years. We are only 13 billion years now. It will still go on for 150 billion years till the point that even 2 atoms will not be together. They will kind of proton and neutron also will, and electron will kind of also get kind of separated. So they say that there will be a soup kind of a thing. Then what will happen is it all will come together, and it will take that much amount of time, and then it will stay like this for that much amount of time. That is one asankhya, and then again this Big Bang will start expanding. So that is one cycle of Big Bang. So that is one asankhya. That is what the Buddha is talking about is asankhya. Sorry, Mahakapa. Four asankhya is one Mahakapa. So now the Buddha says that if the monk is sitting and remembering 100,000 such asankhyas, and he does that non-stop for 100 years, still he will not have seen the end of or the beginning uh, of the samsara. So that's a huge amount of period. So we have been over here, we are kind of there. But if we kind of consider that what we get from this Buddha's teaching is that we may avoid that much amount of more time in the samsara, because we are able to understand what is the reality. And when we understand what is reality as reality, we don't worry about the past, because we know what has happened in the past is what has happened in the present. We don't worry about the future also, because we know what has happened in the present will happen in the future. So we have to see the present. If we are able to see the present, we will know the past, and we don't worry about the future, because you know that what is happening in the present is going to happen in the future. So there is no worry about the future also. So that is the question. So the Buddha is saying that all the questions which people are asking about past, present, and future are not relevant. So I'll just go through another sutta and I'll just read that. That's very interesting. I did not take that sutta because it was a longer sutta. This is also on dependent origination. Sankha Tanhaya Sutta. This is the greater discourse on the destruction of craving. So this sutta is also about the dependent origination and how wrong views can be found. And this has a lot of repetition of the dependent origination also. So now the Buddha is asking students, knowing and seeing in this way, would you run back in the past thus? Were we in the past? Were we not in the past? What were we in the past? How were we in the past? Having been what? What did we become in the past? No, Venerable Sir, because we don't worry about the past. Knowing and seeing in this way, would you run forward to the future thus? Shall we be in the future? Shall we not be in the future? What shall we be in the future? How shall we be in the future? Having been what? What shall we become in the future? No, Venerable Sir. So we don't worry about the future also. Knowing and seeing in this way, would you now be inwardly perplexed about the present thus? So are you having doubts of the present? Am I? Am I not? What am I? Who am I? Where has this being come from? Where will it go? No, Venerable Sir. So in the present also you will not have any doubt. You will not have any doubt for the past also. You will not have any doubt for the future also. So you will become clear. But you have to see the present. So over here when we say when you have to see the present, you don't have to have any kind of dogma or believe in anything. You don't have to believe in rebirth. You don't have to believe in previous life. You don't have to believe in anything. You have to be able to see the present as it is in the present. So then if you are able to see this, then everything will become clear. Okay? Any questions?
So that means that in reality, the past is always a part of the present.
Correct.
It influences all the time, and the idea of be aware meditation is not to do the same reaction again, to find a more more pleasant or better decision.
Correct.
So that's the idea.
The-
And then you are maybe more relaxed, and the future will be as it comes. So
correct.
it's
So-
really to go out of worrying about the past. And so,
Yeah.
but you are always connected with everything.
Correct. One of the two concepts which are useful is that wholesome and unwholesome. So we kind of let go of what is unwholesome. We go and keep our attention on the wholesome. One is useful and not useful. So certain emotions are not useful. The emotion of greed, which is there, aversion, which is there, of taking it very personally, is there. Those emotions are not useful. So they are called unwholesome. And then there are some useful emotions, which is of generosity, which is of giving, which is of kind of balance or joy for others. So those kind of emotions are useful. So then you put your attention over there. So the food which is there, which is considered, we have food which is the things which we eat, the bread or the butter and all, whatever we eat is our food. The food for whatever arises in the present, the thoughts, is our attention. If we put our attention on that, that grows. If we take our attention away from them, then it is kind of the food is given taken away from it. So certain things are like cactuses, I say. If you take away the food away from them, also they persist for a longer time. Some people, some things are like flowers. If you take away the kind of attention, they die away. Certain habits change with difficulty. Certain habits change very instantly. So those kind of things are there, but the process remains the same. The time for your change can be depending on whatever you bring to the table.
There is any difference between thinking and thought?
Thought is the initial thing which you come. So should I go to market is a thought. Thinking is, oh, what should I buy? Oh, every time I go to the market, this happens and that happens. Or maybe I'll ask this and that. All things which is a sustained thought. Huh? So there is an initial which is there. Is a thought is there. Then thinking is the kind of proliferation of all whatever is there. Is the thinking process. Okay.
I thought maybe in both the past and also in future.
Yeah, future, like I'll go there, I'll do this, or you see a bridge being made. Oh, there will be a bridge over here. So there is a thought of the future. Or there will be a good, better times over there, or I'll get a good returns of this investment. All are future related. Okay, then we'll share the merits. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensations.